This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting out your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. It was part 3, Packers and Bears. Bears come away victorious, 31-27, the final score here in this one. The top 5 graded players that we had for the Chicago Bears. Tight end Colston Loveland. And man, we're going to talk a little bit more about Colston Loveland in a second. What an unbelievable player. What an unbelievable game. They got a good one in their first rounder here in Colston Loveland. Defensive tackle Grady Jarrett right behind him with a 79.2. Running back DeAndre Swift, a 76.3. Offensive tackle Ozzie Trapillo had a 75.9. Edge rusher Montez Sweat, a 70.0. Caleb Williams in this game, a 77.3. But man, some highs in this game that we'll discuss in a second. On Green Bay's side, 2 wide receivers at the top of their list. First one's Matthew Golden, their rookie, with a 90.5 overall grade, and then Romeo Doubs with an 88.9. And number 3, offensive tackle Jordan Morgan with a 77.1. Offensive guard Aaron Banks right behind him with a 73.7. Edge rusher Rashawn Gary, a 68.9. And then Jordan Love in this game, a 73.9 overall grade. Dalton, stats that told the story.
You know, initially I was going to talk about how the Bears' defense really stepped up in the second half and some of the adjustments Dennis Allen made, but there was another number that stuck out to me, and I had to go into the record books to see where this stood in the 20-year history of PFF here. So the Bears had 11 explosive passes in the second half of this game. That's 15 or more yards. 11 explosive passes in the second half. Trevor, that's tied for the most in any half of a game in PFF history.
I bet.
Only 3 other times has a team put up 11 explosive passes in a single half of football. Just ridiculous when you think about that in the context of, you mentioned it, you alluded to it a minute ago, what Caleb Williams is capable of and the high-end throws that he is capable of, and why this team is never out of football games, even if things are going wrong early, because it's almost like just a baseball lineup with a ton of power. They can hit home runs at any time. They've got great weapons all over the field. You've got 2 good backs. You've got DJ Moore, Colston Loveland, Roma Dunze, Luther Burden. At any time, Caleb can go anywhere with the football, and he can go to any area of the field, right? And not all of these explosive passes were deep down the field. Some of them were made after the catch. Say a play like DeAndre Swift when he was breaking tackles and working down into the red zone, right? They just have so many different ways they can beat you on offense, the Bears do. And this really has been the catalyst behind all these comeback wins this year. It's 7 wins now, Trevor, where they've trailed in the final 2 minutes of games. It's just ridiculous, right? But it's because they have this quarterback who, no, is not yet a perfect player, right? He absolutely isn't. There's inconsistencies early in the game. There's some fundamental things and accuracy that he still needs to clean up. But at the end of the day, the Bears are just never out of it because they have such an explosive element to both dimensions of their offense, and once again, it's why they were able to pull off this huge comeback. And my other favorite stat from this series of games we've seen between these two teams, the Bears never had a snap, never played an offensive snap in any of these 3 games with a lead, and yet they won 2 out of 3 games. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. My most impressive was Caleb Williams in this game. And like you said, was it perfect? No. I think his adjusted completion percentage was below 60%. Yeah, in this game, it was his adjusted completion percentage was at 57.8%. And so you look at Caleb Williams and you look at all the fourth quarter comebacks that he has. He's got 7 fourth quarter comebacks this year, including the playoffs. And yeah, his inefficiencies are part of the reason why they're having to come back in the fourth quarter. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But you also can't deny him being the one that's a major catalyst as to why they're coming back. This is the player that you want to draft, right? I think that some people might look at it and some people might say, no, okay, I need a quarterback with a higher floor. I want somebody who is going to be a little bit more consistent series to series, down to down. But I'm telling you, you've got to have special ability like this if you're going to win it all. There's just too many good quarterbacks out there that you're eventually going to go up against. Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Drake May coming up, right? And it's like there are too many elite quarterbacks in this league for you to not have a player of this caliber of a talent to be able to give you a chance. And that's what Caleb Williams does. He gives you a chance. 7 big-time throws in this game. Insane. He had 3 versus cover 2. He had 3 versus cover 1. He had 1 versus cover 3. He was insane in this game. In the fourth and 8 play, the 4th and 8 throw, rolling out against the grain. Who completes that pass? Who completes that pass?
Maybe Mahomes and maybe Allen.
That's about it.
That's about it.
The list's about 3 quarterbacks long that attempt and complete that pass when you need them to, with everything on the line. And that goes back to the Packers game that was in Chicago a couple of weeks ago. That overtime throw to DJ Moore. Everything that went into that throw, the context of it, and he just breadbasket. This is the player that you draft number 1 overall. You have to be able to have talent like this. Now, do I want him to play better within structure in the pocket? Yes. I'm not so sure that Caleb Williams can win a Super Bowl for you until he gets better at those things. For as great as he is out of structure, he does have to be better in structure, and he's got to be able to make the layups, if you will. You can make the Steph Curry distance 3-pointers. We've seen him do that throughout his whole career at Oklahoma, at USC, and now in Chicago. You got to make the layups, and you got to make just those smaller 2-point baskets with a little bit more efficiency, in my opinion, if you want to be somebody to win a Super Bowl. But he is well on his way, and, I didn't know if Caleb Williams would ever even get to the point that he's at right now in his career, because I think that he is better at the in-structure stuff. He's better at learning when to fight another down, when to throw it away, learning when, this throw is not here. I can't attempt this. He is further along right now than maybe I thought there was a world where he would ever be, just because of how Superman he was at USC. And when you have that mindset, it's really difficult to get over that, especially when you're as talented as he has. But very clearly, the chemistry, the friendship, the mentorship that he has with Ben Johnson, if this is year 1, that's why you hear in my voice how excited I am for this player. Because there was, for as talented as Caleb Williams is, there wasn't a guarantee that he was going to get over the Superman complex that he had when he was at USC. He's getting over it this year, and we've seen that so many times. And a lot of times when players get over that Superman complex, what do, Dalton? They go into a shell. They go, okay, I'm going to be more efficient, but I'm going to be more efficient because I'm not looking deep. Because I'm no longer doing what made me a special player. He's still doing that, and he's getting a little bit better at the in-structure stuff. So all that to say, the explosives in the second half, Caleb Williams' big-time throws, some of those plays down the stretch, the fourth quarter comeback, to me, it's so much fun to watch. It's just so much fun to watch. Stat that actually told the story for me was actually Jordan Love in the passing game. Because for as much as, I'll get to Matt LaFleur in a second, it felt like the Packers, we've talked about this, they're hurt. How that defense has been since Micah Parsons went down, it's just not even the same thing anymore. The corners have been super unreliable this season, very up and down overall. But Love in the passing game, 0.336 EPA per pass is an incredibly high number overall for an offense in the passing game. And I thought Jordan Love did everything he could in this game to win them this ball game. I was so impressed with how he played on the road. He played good enough to win, in my opinion. And it was just, Green Bay has been really unlucky during the second half of this season. And I think that's just what it boiled down to in this game.
Yeah, I think the Bears did. Dennis Allen really made some nice adjustments in the second half, and it's not really at the fault of Love necessarily. It's just more about how, if the Bears were going to continue to get beat, it's how they wanted to do it. In the second half, I thought on first down, they came out with a lot more cover two, too high type of looks, and they were really aggressive with Kyler Gordon in the slot when it came to defending the run. They really wanted to make a point of making Jordan Love hand the football off on first down and then just rally to Josh Jacobs and don't let the Packers milk the clock, right? So get Jordan Love in second and third and long and see how many of those that he can convert, right? And just take your chances then later in the down. I thought early in the game they got beat on first down a lot. They didn't get beat on first down in the second half. And we have to keep in mind, too, the Bears, it's bend but don't break. They wait for turnovers. They didn't get any in this game. But they only gave up 6 points in the second half of this game, too. Part of that also is Brandon McManus and the missed kicks. But I think when you look at what the Bears had to do to get stops and keep themselves in this game, that was a huge factor as well. And honestly, the way that he went about it on first down, that's why the Matthew Golden touchdown in the fourth quarter was really the one play that worked for them, because they caught Kyler Gordon blitzing on a first down and they threw the screen outside of him and Golden outflanked it and scored the touchdown. So, I mean, I really thought it was more so than Jordan Love being ineffective in the second half. I thought Dennis Allen really outcoached Matt LaFleur in the second half schematically, especially when you talk about early downs throughout most of it.
Matt LaFleur, I think, struggled in this game, and I think there's a lot of Packers fans that are calling for Matt LaFleur's head. I'm nowhere close to that. Does he need to be better in late game situations? Yeah, absolutely. But I think Matt LaFleur is still a hell of a football coach. I think specifically the offense is still really good with him. Clearly, he has hired he's hired a great coach in Jeff Hafley, and I don't know if he's going to lose Hafley at this point. But if you're bringing back Matt LaFleur and Hafley, and the team's a lot healthier next season, I feel good about this team contending for a Super Bowl. I really do. But he's the most disappointing in this game. Specifically, I mean, you look at the timeout usage from him. Burned a timeout, okay, right before a third down. Well, I won't call that one a burn timeout. He used a timeout at that point in the game, right before a pretty big third down for them late in the second half. And then they get a delay of game coming out of the timeout. Then they're backed up 5 yards. Incomplete pass. Miss that field goal. Then they called a timeout on defense after a Colston Loveland first down right before the 2-minute warning. And it's like, okay, well, you burned a timeout already. You're in a situation where you might need these timeouts here, and that's absolutely what they needed, because on that final drive, they ended up calling a timeout with 40 seconds left, and we got to the point where now they've only got a couple of seconds left. When they were down, they weren't in the red zone, but they were near the red zone, and they put themselves in a situation because they no longer had those timeouts of, we can't throw it over the middle of the field. Now we don't have time. So now Chicago just gets to basically just guard the sidelines, because they know if you complete it over the middle, it doesn't matter. We're going to tackle you, and that's it. And that's mismanagement of timeouts. That's you not being on your P's and Q's. That's not you not having the details down and you having to then use your timeouts to get that extra time to work things out. And it's those little things that when you play in a rivalry like this, and when you play in the postseason, when you play in a team that's this good, that's the little stuff that you can't be doing. You as the head coach can't be – now, a head coach's responsibility is a lot. I'm not trying to oversimplify it. I think there are too many people that – sort of like, you know, Monday morning quarterback or couch armchair quarterback, whatever. Like, there's a lot of people, myself included, I've been guilty about this plenty of times, who will criticize coaches on game days as if they don't have a billion things to try to think about. But at the same time, the good ones figure it out. The good ones have the right process. And I think Matt LaFleur is a really good head coach. But this feels like it happens too many times where they're not on the details enough to be able to win these games down the stretch. And so that's disappointing for me, because I think the world of him as a coach. I think he's really talented.
I also think this Packer team, for as much as we go, okay, when they're healthy, they're good enough to go to and win a Super Bowl. The problem is I think there's still personnel issues. To me, the most disappointing part is the Packers, especially the holes that they still have on defense, right? Since week 14, they have the third worst pass rush grade in the league. The Micah Parsons injury completely killed their defense.
Right.
So at all three levels to me, number one, the Parsons injury killed their pass rush. Two, they need somebody else at linebacker next to Edgerrin Cooper. Quay Walker and Isaiah McDuffie were their two lowest graded players in this game. Walker, his contract expires with the end of this game, and McDuffie's on less than a $5 million cap charge next year. He'll be around for next year as, like, hopefully more in a backup role, a rotational third linebacker kind of role. They need another linebacker next to Edgerrin Cooper. And outside at corner, I've been saying this all year, I like Keyshawn Nixon. I like Carrington Valentine. Personally, I think they're average players. They don't have top-end corners to compete with big-time passing games like this. So I think there's still personnel issues at all three levels of their defense that they need to sort out this offseason.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else on this game before we move on?
Don't think so. I think the Bears, obviously, they're feeling good about themselves. But another home game with a hot offense like that, they got to figure out how to play in the first half at some point. But a win is a win.
A win is a win, especially in the postseason.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok gurus sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff. Because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.